We have been getting closer and closer to the post-Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Drake era of rap, yet it seems like there's no one ready to take the baton from them. I took it upon myself to find the 3 people most likely to lead us into the next generation of rap. Let's get straight into it. Not only do I think JID is arguably the most talented rapper in the game right now, but I also think he has himself in the best position out of any rapper to lead the next generation. If you go back nearly 2 decades ago, you can see a time where J. Cole was in the same position that JID is in today. Cole was signed to a label called Roc Nation that was owned by Jay-Z, while Jay-Z was still focusing on making music. While he was still new to the label, everybody knew that as long as Jay-Z was actively dropping music, the attention wasn't really going to be on Cole, so Cole was allowed to develop as an artist, dropping projects like The Sideline Story and Born Sinner. Now naturally, J. Cole would develop with each album he released as an artist, but Jay-Z would also be a bit older a few years into it and would start to focus more on the artists that he had signed. This meant that for the first time, J. Cole would really be given a chance to shine, and this is when we got Forest Hills Drive.
The bigger we get, the more likely egos collide. It's just
this album solidified J. Cole as a star and is impressive for a number of reasons, but that's not really what this video is about. The whole point is, as Jay-Z slowed down, J. Cole was finally given a position where they would go all out marketing his album and rely on his talent to do the rest. And it did that. It is one of the best albums of all time, but now, looking at where we are currently, we have JID. He dropped The Never Story, DiCaprio 2, and The Forever Story with J. Cole and with Dreamville. Now, if you slow down for a minute and really think about the position we're in, J. Cole has been talking about his retirement album for years now, where it's basically going to be the final real album of his career, and after that, he'll be more casually working on music, meaning the limelight is going to be shifted to JID. JID, as I said before, is arguably one of the most talented rappers in the game right now, and has closed out both of his concepts with The Never and Forever Story and DiCaprio 2. Meaning that this next album is going to be a fresh slate for him, just to show off what he's really capable of. Now, I don't think anyone has a real idea of what direction JID is going to go with this next album, but I think something that he has proven is that he's very good at collabing with other people, meaning it's very likely that they're going to collab with him on this next album. Given that he's signed to Dreamville and so close to J. Cole, he does have access to other artists such as Kendrick Lamar and Drake because he's networked with basically everybody in the industry through J. Cole, meaning that there's no limit to who he could have on his project, and if J. Cole really wants to go out, it would make a lot of sense for him to get some big names on there. But JID also seems to be able to stand with just about anybody on any given song. So when we take a step back and look at the entire situation with JID, he's one of the most talented artists, and he has connections to pretty much every artist in the entire industry. But going even beyond that, he's going to have more marketing than ever for his next project, not only because his last album finally took off on TikTok over a year after its release, but also because J. Cole is finally going to want to focus on the people he has signed to his label, meaning he's going to support them more than ever. We know for a fact that JID's next album is going to get a lot of attention, and it seems to have been proven at this point that he has plenty of talent to go with it. So not only will his next album have a ton of attention on it, but it will be his first chance to really establish himself as someone who's going to run the genre for years to come. But let's take a look at who might just be with him. In my previous video, I mentioned how part of the reason the rap industry is in the state that it's currently in has to do with us losing not only Juice WRLD, but XXXTentacion. What I didn't mention is how both of their fan bases are also fans of one artist, Mask the Slump God. I do have a few serious concerns saying that Ski Mask is going to be the future of rap, with one being that he hasn't dropped consistently in over 5 years, and the second being that his music has been really hit or miss, at least in my opinion. When you look at what makes an artist like Drake so good, it's that he'll drop a 12-song album. I'll add 3 of the songs, my girlfriend will add 3 of them, some people at the club will add another 3, and then he'll do 3 songs that are a lot more experimental, and it will fit with some group of people. But when you look at Ski Mask, he'll drop a 12-song album, and 3 or 4 of the songs will perform really well, but the other 8 will noticeably lag far behind. With that being said, Ski is still really fresh to being an actually established artist, and has had 5 years to really work on his craft and find out what everybody enjoys. I think he and JID share a very unique skill set where no matter what they're saying, The flows they're able to rap with makes their songs way better, and that's kind of part of what I think the next wave of rap is going to be, with them two at the forefront. What's really interesting is trying to figure out what his next album might be like, because it could go a million different ways. One thing is, I don't see him ever posting himself with other rappers, but he was on ROTD3, meaning he was in the same room as a J. Cole or a JID or a Kendrick Lamar or just about anybody you see in their circles.
So now I'm actually do features with other artists, like every other artist type shit.
There's been rumors that his next album is going to be called The 11th Dimension and is going to have a number of big features, with some of them being rappers, but some of them not really being in that vein at all, meaning that he might drop a more diverse album than ever before, and we might see him experiment more than we've ever seen before. And as always, I talk about how the experimental artists are the ones who make it to the top, but for everyone that makes it to the top, there's a ton that fail. Ski was associated with Juice and X. Those are two of the most experimental artists that we've seen recently, and both of them hit on just about everything. So is it really going to be the case that Ski is the third to do the same? I don't know, but I really hope so. Now, this feels really strange to say, but if we look at my current big three, I know I didn't finish it yet, but right now we have JID and we have Ski Mask, and I think they're pretty much my version of J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. It sounds weird, give me a second. So J. Cole and Kendrick, they're both viewed as very lyrical. They're kind of similar in the sense that they're more traditionally good rappers. Obviously, Kendrick is supposed to be a little more lyrical. J. Cole is a bit better at telling stories, but again, they're both fairly similar. Now with Ski Mask and JID, they're both really good with their flows. They both can bring lyrics. I think JID is a bit more lyrical and Ski is probably going to be a bit more fun with it, but both of them have their place as similar artists where they're good at different things. Now this leads to me needing a Drake, and I think the best version of Drake that we're going to see in the future is this guy. I'm not done with Polo G yet. He has done some of the best numbers out of any of the modern rappers and shown his ability to make hit after hit. With that being said, it seems like people have been saying that he's getting a little stale over the same old piano beats, but he's been planning on doing something different this whole time. If you followed him on social media, you would see him saying over and over and over again they wanted to get back to his bread and butter, what he used to do before he was mainstream. But what was that? It was super aggressive, super ignorant music. I'm talking about look at me type stuff. It was out of nowhere. And if you listen to who he's been ever since he blew up, you wouldn't think he had any of that in him. What this means to me is that Polo G is way more versatile than people give him credit for. And while he'll drop songs like Rap Star and Martin and Gina, he also has an entire different element to his ability that we just haven't seen. I haven't heard a lot from Polo G recently, and really the last thing I've heard that was that noteworthy was that he broke up with his very long-term girlfriend, meaning that he has more time than ever to work on his craft, and people want him to come with something different than he's been bringing for the last few years. To me, this means that Polo G is going to reinvent himself, and we're either going to see it really work out or be something that completely flatlines his career. It is crazy to think that people really want Polo G to drop something new, and that for him, something new could be what he was doing from the very start before he ever even got signed, and what got him signed. It seems as though the label pushed him in a certain direction of these piano beats and everything. He dropped hit after hit after hit despite being limited with what he could do, and now people want to see something new from him, and what might be new for Polo G is what is really old and got him signed in the first place. With that being said, I think he drops this new album that's going to be a bit more aggressive and everything like that, and that this leads to an area where the label gives him full control to do whatever he wants. When you give an artist of Polo G's caliber full creative control of their music and of their art, generally really good things can happen. This would make Polo G the third artist, the new Drake, meaning that he has to be the more well-rounded, more diverse artist, which I think he has already proven to be. So this means that my guess for the next big three in about 5 years for rap is going to be Polo G, JID, and Ski Mask the Slump God, but odds are I'm not 100% correct, if correct at all, with those guesses. So I'm curious, who do you guys will think will be the next three? Do you think that I've got any of them right? Do you think I've got all of them right? And who are some of the sleeper picks that I might have missed?